Hi all, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for watching. Last episode I was so depressed, like literally I couldn't even look at myself, just the way I sounded, like nearing tears and stuff. But these are the actual emotions I go through almost every day. Every day is literally that I have to keep myself positive, just not to end up in depression or any kind of state where it can actually be used against you by other people, because they can't imagine that such horrible and horrific things can actually happen to human beings. So, yeah, I hope this time in part 4 I will be able to share more, a bit more upbeat at least. I don't want to come across as somebody who is only telling horrible stories. This is not what the channel is going to be about. I started this channel because I actually want to share my story, and I know the average person in the world doesn't really care about what happens to other people. But I think when you are going through events, know that you are not the only one who is going through that. And so it's always good to see if there are other people out there who are actually going through the same thing as you are, because maybe in your direct environment you can't find people who understand what you're going through or are experiencing the same things that you are going through. So online you can find anything that you want as long as you search hard enough for it. You can find it. So yeah, part 4. Last time we ended up with me telling you about my experience with the police, and I definitely have nothing against the police, and I also want to highlight that I have absolutely nothing against people with eye conditions, as I didn't express myself in the right manner, but I didn't know the correct term actually to describe people with severe eye condition, basically, whereby even with glasses their eyes are not positioned as the average human being, basically. So I think I'm making it worse. So let's forget that part, scrape it. Yeah. After all the hacking, eventually I decided to leave that place because I thought if I move, it will stop. We were living in the same building practically. So I think, well, if that person is living above me, he's definitely not going to follow me somewhere else. Maybe whatever interest he got in me will end there, and hopefully he will focus on his family and not focus on tormenting me for some reason. Maybe he felt like I stepped on his tiny penis. So yeah, that was the stab there. Yeah, so I thought, okay, let me move and then see what happens. And so I start searching for an apartment in London again, but then totally living the area that I actually love living. And I started looking in another direction. A friend of mine offered, like, oh yeah, there is an area which is really nice, Clapham Junction. So why don't you consider that area? So I started looking there, and then I found a place, a very cute place, a 2-bedroom apartment in London, which is quite rare to find it. And so I went on their website, and then I filled in all my details. And at one point, the website went blank, like it stopped working. I thought it was my computer, but I tried to log in again and it wasn't going through. And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy literally hacked their website, because it's one of these agents who is not really skilled. They don't have an IT department who is going to put proper security in place. A lot of companies don't think about security until something bad happens to them. So I thought, okay, nothing to worry about. Eventually, the website was working again, so I engaged them and I told them that I was interested in renting their place. And then I did a viewing, and everything was okay. They did a background check, and everything was fine. And I could shortly moved in with 1 month's notice from the place that I was living at, where the stalk also lived. So I think I moved there in September. And that same month that I was moving, this is something, once you have been hacked, you started noticing a lot of things, patterns in the world. And I have always been somebody who actually do notice things out of the ordinary. I like little details in people or patterns, kind of recognizing patterns. So I saw that a lot of people were moving out from that property. But I don't even blame them, since what I went through. Oh, yeah, let me step back actually. I did one drastic thing. At one point, while this was happening to me, I got so angry with the company that I was renting from, because somehow I felt like maybe they were giving this person the chance to hack me. Maybe they told him that I filed complaint against him or whatever. And because of that, he felt like having to take revenge on me, which is like ridiculous. At least, probably he's also a wife beater or whatever, because I don't know any man who is going to harass a woman. No respectable man will do that. And so I sent, I kind of put an update on Google about this company. And the review that I placed was not positive, obviously. I put everything in there that was wrong in the apartment. I told the story about how, since I moved into that place, I got hacked, and that I think that maybe whoever is doing it is either the caretaker, and this person is using his access to all the apartments to maybe commit crime, like Bitcoin crime, because he has access to all the modems in the apartments. He has keys to all the apartments. When people are out, the average person doesn't really change their password. It's on their box. When you come into people's house, their password is on their box, literally on their modem. Just, if you are home, just try it out. I'm sure there is a sticker on your modem with your password for your Wi-Fi and everything. So this person comes in, that's quickly access. He has access to everything. So if you are a cybercrime criminal, and this is the type of job that you have, because you will have easily access to people's computers or whatever, that's what you will do. That's just easy gain. I mean, it's not rocket science. So this is the review I left. And then I also put in some pictures of how I found my modem, which I had disconnected, connected back into my box. And then I told about how I left my apartment and that somebody used my phone in there while I was away and stuff. So all these evidence piled up. And then I put in that review on Google. And I think they had like a huge financial backlash after that Google that I placed, the Google review. And for months, they weren't able to rent out their place. And so at one point, I actually was suspecting this company to be hacking me. Maybe the founders thought like, let's teach this woman a lesson. Let's try to destroy her livelihood. And who will have the resources either way? Anyway, as long as I go through the story, I will unfold how much money this person is actually spending on hacking me and following me around the world. So yeah, that was that part. And I moved eventually to that new place that I found. And in the beginning, everything was fine. Before I moved there, actually, the people that I was speaking to, they told me like, oh, do you want us to help you with your internet? I'm so stupid, literally. Do you want us to help you with your internet? We can install it for you because we have an agreement with the company Virgin Mobile, Virgin Media. And then you will pay less if it goes through us. There is like a discount or something. And then before you get into the apartment, everything will be there for you, ready to just use, you know? Like, oh, that's quite a nice service. Then I told them the story that I had been hacked and stuff, so I want a new modem. I don't want anything that is already in that place and stuff. So I thought, okay, maybe that's good. But now that I know that there is a thing called spoofing, and spoofing is basically a method that a cyber criminal will be able to intercept all the calls that you are making and pretend to be the other party that you are trying to reach. And most of the time, these can be companies, obviously not people that you know, but yeah. So that's what happened. And yeah, so when I moved in there, shortly after the internet arrived and everything, I installed it, I placed it there, and then I thought like, okay, I have my freedom back again. I can try to start to work on trying to get my website back, etc. Quickly after, I noticed that somebody was coming into the apartment. Within a week that I was living there. No, the first thing that I actually heard was the cry of a baby. And it was the exact cry of the baby from the previous apartment of the upstairs neighbor. As I told you, they had a baby. And I thought like, where is this cry coming from? Is it in my head? Am I imagining things? And then I heard it a couple of times. I'm like, no way that they moved into this property, you know? And then I started thinking like, okay, just before I moved in, I saw that some people had put trash outside, and it was like somebody was moving, and in opposite my apartment, there was another apartment, and that guy was literally leaving. So this also became like a haunted place for me, because from there he was able to spy on me and do all kind of things. I don't want to make this video long again. But next time I will tell you about how at one point I was looking into my phone, and then he said, come on, smile. And he was next door, you know? And that was the first time I had a shock, because before then I wasn't really paying attention of covering my phone. You know, you don't really pay attention. I wasn't thinking like, hey, maybe he's using my camera to watch me. It's like I was quite ignorant in this area of the psyche of a sick person who is obsessed with you. And so the moment I heard that voice say, come on, smile, you know, because I was looking at my phone and crying. I was so depressed about everything that was happening to me. And then I heard him walking from that opposite apartment back to his apartment in flat 3. So, yeah, I will leave it here until next time. Just thank you for watching and listening to my story. And feel free to share your experience with me. And yeah, if you want, subscribe. Cheers. Bye.